Welcome to Unlearning with Laura, the podcast where you get to rewire your mind, reclaim your power, and break generational cycles. I'm Laura Stiles, clinical hypnotherapist and mindset coach, and founder of The Mindful Generation, the place where parents come to transform their lives and live with more purpose and freedom. Let's dive in. This episode is brought to you by Carrie, a screen-free voice messaging device designed for families who want connection, safety and independence without giving children a smartphone. As conscious parents, we know smartphones are powerful tools, but they also come with pressure, distraction and risks that developing brains simply aren't built for. Carrie, spelt Karri, offers an awesome alternative, allowing children to stay connected with the people who matter most, while protecting their emotional well-being and their childhood. You can take advantage of 15% off the Messenger One device. Just use code MindfulGen15 at the checkout. Check the link in the show notes to find out more. But for now, let's tune in. Welcome, Charlotte. I'm so excited for this episode. We have got Charlotte from No Crept Parties, and I'm very intrigued to hear more about your mission and what you've set up and your background and how it was born. So I want to ask you from the top, what is No Crept Parties and how did it come into fruition?
Well, thanks for having me. Hello. So it's a campaign. So No Crept Parties and the Kids Party Pact is a campaign. And what we're trying to do is normalise a more affordable, less wasteful approach to gifting and party bags at kids' parties. So that's kind of what we're trying to do. But gosh, there's many different ways I could tell the story of how it came about. I think the final straw was when I went to a birthday party, a fourth birthday party with my daughter. And this family we know relatively well. They consider themselves to be quite sustainable, yet they still gave out a party bag full of plastic tat. And I was really surprised. And I was like, this is kind of not matching up with who you are or what your values are. So that kind of got me thinking. And the background to that was that I'd done carbon literacy training as part of some volunteering I'd done. And I'd been running these toy swaps in Kendal where we live. And I'd kind of been thinking, like, what can I do a little bit more? You know, when you have kids, you start thinking about the future and what's their lives going to be like when they grow up. And I was freaking out, basically. I need to do something. And the toy swaps kind of made me realise that people are really happy to get their own kids secondhand stuff, but we feel really weird about doing it for other people. So that party with the plastic tap filled party bag and also conversations with friends with slightly older children who'd been to loads of kids parties when they started school, and a lot of moaning about the amount of money it costs them, the fact to take it over every weekend, you have to buy a present, you get the party bag, blah blah blah. A lot of people here listening will have already been through that experience. So all of these things came together and I was like, hang on a minute, I think this could be a problem that I could get my teeth into and maybe do something about. So that's where it began.
That's brilliant. How many years ago was that then? Would that have been
like a year ago?
Was that only a year ago?
Yeah.
I feel like you've grown like quite a big platform already on Instagram. In my head, I was like, oh, it's probably like 4 years ago or something.
So that part, the offending party was in September. This might give away who it was if they listen. In September, a year and a half-ish ago. And then I kind of started thinking about it, and I think I set up the Instagram account in November 2024, and then I launched the Kids Party Pact exactly a year ago, almost in January.
Wow. Just goes to show how many people are completely feeling the same. And also, do you know what's so interesting about all of that is, for me personally, because I've been there where I've actually bought someone a sort of, a secondhand gift. It was pre-loved, still in the box, and given that to a friend's child for a birthday, and I believe that they were absolutely fine with it, and they probably noticed, and I've got no issue with doing that. But also afterwards I was a bit like, I feel a little bit ashamed, I feel a little bit embarrassed, because I think it was my husband that said, did you give them that then? And I was like, well, yeah, it's just pre-loved, like we're happy to buy from Vinted and accept pre-loved, and we're kind of all for it. And I was like, oh shit, have I done something bad? And there was instant shame around it. So I think we're just made to feel like it's got to I don't know, maybe fear of judgment. Like you've got to look or come across like you've, number one, maybe got the finances for a good gift, or number two, that you're giving something that's decent to another child. That side of it is a little bit interesting, isn't it?
Definitely. There's all of these social norms and social scripts that we've kind of been told are like the way that we need to feel and what we need to do. And, we're so deeply culturally ingrained, I think, not to turn up empty-handed. And that there's this kind of idea around things like, well, they've paid for food, or they've paid for a venue, or they're taking the kids to do this, so I must therefore give a gift that is of some sort of equal value as a thank you for that. And all of these things that kind of are these abstract concepts that we kind of have been taught to believe in, that when you stop and think about it, actually don't really make very much sense. I was chatting to someone about this the other day. We're all so busy as parents and as mums, and we have so much to think about, that it's very easy to just go through the motions of what's expected, and that's just the easiest way to do things. Order something online, or just quickly grab something. But I think people often think that the sustainable alternative is harder, and that's definitely not the case. So these social norms aren't helpful to most of us, and I think it's time to break them.
Being busy is a big one, isn't it? Like just being really busy. Your life's full of obligations and everything, and suddenly you've got a kids party coming up on Saturday and it's Thursday, and you're like, oh, I'll just do Amazon Prime. And I'm sure that so many people listening can feel like that's a thing that happens quite a lot, and I'm guilty of that. But even though I'm really trying so hard to get away from using Amazon as much as I can, we still, obviously, it's utilised a lot just for the simplicity and ease of it all. But I'm a big fan of conscious living, and I buy kind of like all my clothes from Vinted, and same for the kids, like repurposing, and even with furniture, like love like upcycling furniture. And so I feel like there's almost like a sort of, I was going to say trends, it's probably the wrong word. There is definitely like an undercurrent of people like wanting to get this moving, and there's definitely more and more people like you who are like starting things and getting people thinking and talking about it, and especially with clothing and stuff. But I think kids' toys is such a big one, because oh my goodness, they get you go to a supermarket, you go to a shop, and there's plastic crap near the till, and they get sucked in, and you've got that pester power from your kids. So what are the main issues with how we gift in our current culture, from what you've seen?
Gosh, so just going back to the thing about pre-loved and feeling awkward about giving it. So we, in our survey we did at the beginning of this year, we found that I think it was 81% of people would be very happy for their child to be given a secondhand gift, but most people are still giving something new. So we need to break down that misconception that it's not well received, because people are very happy to receive it. So that's a big issue, is just airing that concern. But, the things that we hear most from parents are they don't want loads of more clutter in their houses. Like we've all got too much stuff, and we're hearing more and more about like the impact of that on our mental health. And, for women in particular, having cluttered homes makes us feel more stressed, apparently. I definitely feel that.
Definitely,
it says there's, and you've got to sort it out and all of that other stuff. There's the guilt then when you get given things that you're like, oh, we don't really want this, or we already have that, it's a waste, what am I going to do with it now? There's the kind of pressure around reciprocation, and if somebody buys your child something really good that you think was expensive, that you then feel like, oh no, now we're going to have to do the same for them. And we also found in a survey we did last year that 43% of families find it a financial strain to have to buy a gift for every party their child's invited to. So pressure, clutter, waste, and finances, all of these things surround children's parties and the gifting aspect. And in terms of people don't want to receive all of this stuff, yet we're giving it all. So I think we all just need to kind of like take a pause and think about how we can be a little bit more conscious and mindful of how we're gifting, but also when we host a party, or, it is our child's birthday, that we are proactive in how we give people permission to do something differently, or guide them in a way that we would value, I suppose, and also that makes, gets them off the hook if they can't afford it, or if they do prefer to give secondhand, and so that they don't feel guilty. So there's all these things that we can do to actually just be a little bit kinder to each other when it comes to gifting parties.
It's also interesting. I really can't stand it when you get a party bag and it's like a really crappy like plastic whistle that doesn't even work, and just stuff that they're not going to use, and it literally does end up in the bin, and then you feel so guilty about chucking things in landfill. But
it's their money as well. Somebody's paid for that, and it's literally just gone in the bin. There's so many better options, and I think party bags is really an area where people think, oh, it's just cheap and quick, I'll just grab this thing off, quickly online, or even just if you go to Asda, they have a whole party bag section, which is like a hellscape for me. And it's cheap. It's like £1.50 for a pack of 6 bouncy balls or whatever. So it's, of course people are going to get it, and I don't blame them for that, because it's easy. But I think we need to just be aware that there are other alternatives and things that you can do that are just as cheap and easy. And also, actually, like, the excitement of the party bag is so short-lived for kids. They want it there and then. They want to see the surprise that's in there, and then the bouncy balls under the sofa within 5 seconds, but the other thing's broken, and they've eaten the sweets. So like, just give them the sweets.
It's so true.
And like a book, because they might be like, oh, it's a book, but some children would absolutely love that.
Yeah.
And then they'll rummage through and find the packet of Smarties, scoff that, and be happy as Larry. So,
and also,
because with parents, I think we make a lot of assumptions about how children are going to feel about these things because we're looking through our lens, whereas actually I think we need to give them credit. They're not, they're flexible and they're learning, and, we're setting those expectations. So we shouldn't just kind of be ruled by the fear of what our child may or may not think.
Oh God, yeah. Because what's it modelling for them if you're just, and being able, when they're at the right age, being able to explain to them, look, this stuff is going to end up in landfill and we're trying to look after the planet, and explaining that stuff to them, which we've always done with our boys. And I like to get them something they actually want. So I generally say to the parent, what are they into at the moment? Would you say that that's something that helps out, or?
Definitely, yeah. I think, well, first of all, it's really helpful if people can give gift guidance on an invite. We can come back to that in a sec. But yeah, if you're invited to a birthday party and there is no gift guidance, then I think it's perfectly reasonable to like message and be like, it depends on your stance. Normally, you could say, oh, we usually like to just give a bit of cash so they can buy something of their choosing. Is that okay with you? Or just want to check, like, I normally buy pre-loved gifts, just want to check if you're happy with that. So, because nobody's going to, imagine if somebody turned around and was like, no, that's not acceptable. That would be super awkward, but like, that's just never going to happen.
Yeah.
And actually it might be that they've never thought of that, and they'd be like, oh yeah, that's a really good idea. And then that is like a tiny action that you've taken to trigger that person to think, oh, maybe we should do that ourselves, or maybe we should actually mention it to the group that everybody, by the way, it's fine if you want to give pre-love, like we would encourage that.
Yeah.
So these things aren't, I think, don't think about it as being difficult or awkward. It's also giving that parent the opportunity to be like, oh my God, we've got so much stuff, please do not give anything, because they probably just haven't even thought about putting gift guidance on there. So I think it's about how you frame it in your mind as not being, that weird, difficult person. It's like you're actually being quite kind and helpful to that parent who would rather their child get something that's decent. Or they might just say like a book voucher, or just a voucher for the ice cream parlor down the road, or whatever. But I think asking is definitely fine. Or I just give a book that our kids have liked.
Yeah,
and then
it's great,
personal, because you can be like, this is one of our favorites. And if they've already got it, it doesn't matter, because I'll have probably got it secondhand, and they can just pass it on.
That's the great thing about books. You can literally take it to like we've got like a phone box in our village that's a book exchange, and it's gonna, if it ends up in there, that's fine. It's not going to end up in landfill. So yeah, that's great advice. So what can we do to get around the issues? You mentioned earlier like a few different issues around like the culture with gifting. So at kids' parties and other gifting occasions, what can we do? Where can we start with that?
Well, so we've already talked about gift guidance a bit, but I would say the number one thing is, if you're hosting something, whether it's a kids' party, it could be a wedding, it could be a baby shower, it could be, you might be about expecting a baby, but it's giving that gift guidance. So just getting on the front foot about thinking about what is it that could come out of this situation. It could be, if you've got a child in primary school, you're having a whole class party, and you could end up with 30 gifts arriving in your house, and think about whether you want that. So give some gift guidance, and that could just be, pre-love encouraged, or like no gifts, or a toy swap instead, or a fiver towards something they really want. So whatever it is, just give some gift guidance, because it's kind on the people coming, because it takes away a lot of that uncertainty and, you know, saves them from wasting their money. And it means that you and your child are going to receive something that you're actually happy with. The second thing is then just not putting plastic crap in party bags.
Yeah.
and just rethinking party bags as a whole. Like, it is a tradition and it's quite a nice thing, and kids are excited to have something that they take away from a party. But that could just be the craft activity that they do at the party with some sweets, or it could be like a book swap or a toy swap where you get everyone to bring something to swap. So just, I think, or it could just be a slice of cake. Like, we really don't have to set the bar too high on this. And then it's when you are gifting, to do it in a more conscious way. So that means, what I mean by that is being conscious of the people, their home, and the planet. So it could be secondhand, it could be homemade, it could be an experience gift, it could be your time. You could offer to go and help them with their garden if it's an adult, for example. It could be money towards something, or a voucher. So
Yeah.
we don't always need to default to brand new. And, you know,
Yeah.
it could, you know, a lot of people will be like, oh, let's just get them a candle for an adult or whatever. But do they really want that?
Yeah.
So yeah, just thinking about the alternatives. And there's so many nice things you can do that aren't buying something brand new.
Yes, so many nice things. I mean, just that idea of offering your help to do something in the garden, like, that's a great idea. I would never think of anything
What
like
I
that.
want.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a
I
good
actually
one.
put that on my Christmas wish list, but nobody came through with it yet. I think my mum might have taken it for later in the year.
Yeah, that is a good one. Like, anything where you could just get a bit of help. Like, for me, I'd probably ask for, well, I know we were just talking before we hit record about, you know, when you're a new parent and you've had a baby and then the gifts arrive, and it's usually, I mean, for me personally, a lot of it was just stuff that I had to take care of, like a bunch of flowers, or yeah, a lot of, I don't know, plastic. It would have been like cuddly toys, but they were like plasticky ones, and yeah, I don't know, just stuff that you just have to deal with, and it's cluttering up the home. And I would have loved probably a lot more like frozen meals and stuff,
Oh,
you know.
yeah.
Just
Those were the
doesn't
best
really.
presents, weren't they?
Yeah.
When we had our daughter, it was actually during COVID, so it was kind of lockdown times. And I wonder whether that made everybody extra generous, because they were like, oh, poor you, you've had a baby during COVID and you're a bit isolated. But yeah, when my friend sent us a box of cook meals, I was like, this is 1,000 times better than everything else.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, you're really grateful and you feel so much love from all of these people thinking about you and wanting to do something. But it feels very kind of transactional, and buying a teddy, or, I mean, probably they won't listen to this, whoever sent this, but the worst offenders, in my opinion, are those weird bouquets of
Yeah.
like baby socks and gloves and hats in like weird
Yeah.
colours.
I got one of
Sorry,
those.
but what
Yeah.
the hell is that? And they come all with like little plastic clips in.
Yeah.
And you're sat there with a tiny baby who you're trying to feed, unpicking this stupid
Yes.
thing.
Oh my God, you literally just made me remember that's exactly what I had to do when whoever was in charge of making that decision at the company I worked for at the time. Yeah, I mean, I was grateful, but also, yeah, that was a right faff having to unclip those teeny tiny socks.
And I think that's where, you know, it's like people say, oh, it's the thought that counts. And it is the thought that counts, but the thought needs to go beyond, we need to buy them a gift and tick that box. It needs to go to like, is this something that they're actually going to like get joy from, or help them, or that they actually need? And I think, you know, when people have a new baby, you need to be asked, just ask them what they need.
Yeah.
And like, you know, we were so fortunate. We've got older siblings and family members who unloaded their lofts on us, and we had almost everything that we needed. And there was a few things that we did need, and had people asked, we would have been like, actually, we need another sleeping bag or whatever.
Yeah.
They could have got us that, and that would have saved us however much that cost. Just panic buy on Amazon.
Yeah, it's so true. You just, at the end of the day, if you're really stuck for what to get someone, it's always, I think they would always appreciate just being asked, because you know, then you'll be like, right, there's a chance I'm going to get this thing that I really do need, and that will save me 50 quid or whatever. Oh my goodness. I remember when I was an executive assistant, because I was as an executive PA for quite a long time. So I would be in charge of like gifting people things if I don't know, if someone had like either a family loss or had a baby. It was my job to like get the gifts arranged. And I like pre-kids, I'm now thinking I probably wasn't putting that much like thought into it because I wouldn't have known like what those new parents needed. It probably was going to be like one of those bloom, the sock flower things and teddy bears. And then once I'd had my own baby, I was like, it's cook meals, it's got to be the frozen cook meals, and like everyone got those because I just knew like that is what people need. So that
reminds me of a really funny story. So I can't even think who told me this, so I hopefully it won't get them into trouble, but they sent some cook meals to like a business contact after they'd had a child, thinking that was a really like good thing to do. And then a while later they went to their house to have a meeting, and this person is like really high profile, extremely well paid, and they went in and they literally had like a housekeeper who like did all of their cooking for them. And
really?
She was like, oh no, I thought I was giving a really thoughtful gift. And then the housekeeper was like, what is this? Like, I do the cooking here. That mum had like no actual kitchen work to be doing.
Oh my goodness.
It just made me laugh because I was like, oh, you try your best and do your thoughtful thing, but sometimes
how the other half live though.
I know. Imagine that, having a baby and having someone else to cook and clean up after you.
Oh, that would be the dream, wouldn't it? Okay, so I want to hear a bit more about the pact. What exactly is the pact? Like, how does that help parents when they're giving gifts and receiving gifts?
So the pact, there's three parts to the pact, and the reason the pact exists is obviously, we can all hear about the stuff and talk about it and say it's a good idea. But from a behavioural science point of view, if you actually make a pledge to do something, you're much more likely to follow through with that action. And then if you share that pledge with your friends or your family or on social media, you're even more likely to actually do that thing. So the pact is for that reason, partly to kind of really encourage people to actually say, I am going to do this. And the three parts to the pact are give gift guidance, don't put plastic wrap in party bags, and give more consciously and sustainably. And you don't have to agree to all three parts of that. I wanted it to be really open and flexible because everyone's social groups are different. Everyone's in a different place when it comes to kind of like their willingness to change habits or their comfort to do that. So, you might have a husband that really doesn't agree with some of it or whatever.
Yeah.
So just signing up to at least one of those things. And most people, almost everyone, is the party bag thing that they sign up to, which is quite interesting because it's a mutually hated thing amongst most mums.
Yeah.
So that's what the pact is. And it's encouraging people to actually take the action. And the more people that sign, the more confidence they can give each other in knowing that they're not alone in that, and that there's plenty of other parents who also feel the same and want to do things differently. So there's that side of it. But then in the long term, I'm thinking if we can get, my goal is 10,000 people, which we're way off, 10,000 people to sign the pact, then we can start going to retailers and start pressuring people and say, look, people don't want this stuff. Like Asda, you need to take those rubbish bits of plastic off your shelf and actually offer really affordable, more sustainable alternatives so that people can get this stuff conveniently from your shop or your store and just not have to harm the planet while we're at it. And this is your chance to be a responsible retailer or whatever. So yeah, it's about encouraging and supporting each other, but it's also giving the power in the future to be able to go and bang down those doors and try and get them to change what they actually sell.
Yes.
So that's the long game.
Love that outcome. And I really hope that it happens. Just thinking about pacts and, the smartphone free childhood have the parent pact. And I can see just how much that has been working really successfully. So you're so right about like how once you sign it, you've got that kind of, like it's ingrained in your mind, like I've got to stick to this rule now. And and then sharing it because you have this fear of like, well, they're going to know that I've signed that because I've talked about it. So just that alone is like a real driver in like your decision. So great idea coming up with the pact. I love that idea.
Also means that then obviously if they sign up something, then we can communicate with them and we can send nudges before their child. So people normally put in what their child's birthday is, and then we can email them in the run up to that with like, here's our invitation templates. And we talked a bit about this earlier, but we've got wording for gift guidance that you can pick from. So just to remove as much friction as possible for busy parents. So that, all right, there's a template. Oh, that wording will do. Job done. Easy. And, all of the ideas about what they could do for party bags or, different gift guidance they could give so that, there's not too much thinking to be done.
Yeah, brilliant. I love anything to make lives like run smoothly and make everything feel easy is always a win. So brilliant idea. Yeah, I'm just sorry. I'm now thinking like what party bags to give this party that I've got coming up in a few weeks. A couple of years ago, I gave these like on Amazon. Unfortunately, it was Amazon, but they were eco party bags, and so they were like brown paper bags, and they just came with like a little seedling. They were like a gardening kind of themed thing, and they basically had like seedlings and yeah, a little cute label. And you basically it was for when my youngest was younger, and when kids love like planting seeds and that kind of thing. So it's like something where it involves a craft sort of task. And then I think I added like a little bit of cake, and it was all I was trying to go for that real like eco-conscious kind of vibe. So I know that like Amazon, I know these things are available, but it would be so amazing to be able to go to a supermarket and to just have those options readily available and easy to just pick up and grab.
Yeah, because we can do all of these things DIY, can't we? But it does take a bit more effort.
Yeah.
A friend of mine runs a company called Plants for Presents, and they've just put together a kit to be able to, with a terracotta pot and some stuff you can plant, so that you can do an activity at the party and like decorate the pot and send that home with them. So you can get these things; they are out there. There's also like lots of lovely companies who do like baking kits that are specifically for party favors. So there's Lizzie Bakes or Busy Bakes. She's going to be annoyed if I get that wrong. And also Craft and Crumb, who do kind of like party bag specific kits. So there are things out there where you can just order it online. It'll be sent to you and it's job done.
Brilliant. I've just made a note of all of those, so I can find the links and put them in the show notes so that people can easily access them. Yeah.
But yeah, but also you could, if you've got time, DIY those things, probably for cheaper than you can buy it from those places. But then, it's more effort. So if you are time poor and you can do it financially, then there's loads of options out there.
Yeah.
And there's also, I'll send you a link after this, but there's a blog on our website. I think it's 50 alternative party favour ideas for every budget. So I'll send you that.
Yes, that would be great. Okay, a big one. Again, we talked a little bit before we hit record about grandparents. So a big one I want to, because this is, completely different generation. They have a different way of thinking. And, like back in the 80s, they probably had like all this kind of extra income and they didn't have the kind of financial issues that families have today. I have seen myself like how much grandparents really want to buy brand new, and they want to buy this and they want to buy that. And even at Christmas, my mum, we gave an idea for both our boys, and she said, well, Freddie's is this and George's is only that. What else can I get George? I was like, he doesn't understand that that's going to cost less. He has no idea of the value of things. Like, it literally doesn't matter, because that will be something he loves, but they just want to be able to buy like more plastic crap. So yeah, how can we convince people like grandparents and others as well, like that this is a great idea and without offending them?
Yeah, it's really tricky, and it is a real universal issue. So we just did a survey, and it was about Christmas presents and how about half of parents felt that their kids got too much, and the biggest contributors of that were the grandparents, and also other family members like overzealous aunties and that kind of thing. And yeah, for all the reasons you said, grandparents just want to shower their grandchildren with stuff, and that's how they are showing their love a lot of the time. And I think often it's when maybe if they're not local to you and they don't see them a lot, they like to turn up with presents for the children, and it can be really challenging. And I know lots of friends who've had really difficult conversations again and again and again, and it doesn't seem to get through. And it's also very difficult if it's the in-laws, because of that different relationship compared to when it's with your own parents, and you can maybe just be a bit more blunt and direct. So I think first of all, like, if you're going to have that conversation with grandparents or other family members about just reining in the gifting a little bit, start with affirmation. And because people if they feel like they're being attacked or told off, then it gets people's backs up and they're just going to shut down and not listen to anything else you say. So I think starting off any conversation with like, it's like, you're so generous and so thoughtful with the kids, and they love spending time with you, rather than the kind of please can you stop bringing this stuff into my home. So yeah, starting with that, and then trying to frame the conversation as something that's like a shared goal. So like, rather than saying to them, look, you're just buying too much stuff for our kids, can you stop that please? Starting it with we've been talking a lot about helping the kids really appreciate what they have, and being mindful of where things come from and what we're consuming. And we really noticed last Christmas, for example, they were actually really overwhelmed by the amount of stuff, and it felt like they didn't really take it all in. So I just wondered if that was something that you could help us with. Just thinking about their birthday coming up in a couple of months, like we're just thinking about how we could approach that differently. So to make it something that you are kind of overcoming together, rather than bashing them around the head.
Yeah.
Newfangled ideas.
Yeah.
And then like going in with some real clear alternatives, like how about, rather than the like 59 million gifts you gave them last year, don't say that, but, rather than like lots of different gifts, how about just one gift and then take them on a really nice day out? Or how about this one thing, pick one thing that you think they'd really love, or give them the idea, and then put some money into a savings account for them, or whatever, or like a membership for your local farm park or something like that they can feel like they've actually given them something really good, and you don't end up with the 10 different presents, and the child doesn't end up with the overwhelm of opening them all. So I think it's just about having these conversations in a way that is like really understanding of where they're coming from and taking them on the journey with you, rather than like prescribing and then feeling attacked and that you're not really kind of understanding why they would want to do this.
It's just finding the words, and I think starting with a positive is also a really good tip. Starting by kind of showing like the gratitude and easing in it gently, and then explaining why this is important. And we've absolutely had those conversations in the past around like birthdays and Christmas, and Christmas we've always stuck to the rule of 4. Something you want, something you need, something you wear, something you read. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So the kids have always been like primed for that, each sort of December we're like, by the way, guys, this is, we're doing it again. And I think the issue we have in our family is there's, it's a nice issue to have. I'm not complaining, but where we've got 2 children and then I've got siblings, but they don't have children. So there's literally 2 kids of that generation in a family with lots of adults and aunties and uncles, and everyone wants to spoil them, which is wonderful, and I'm so grateful. But it does make it very hard with the other big issue that I find, and my friends have spoken about this with me as well, is like when they say, hey, what do the kids want for Christmas? And they're already asking quite early on, sort of October time. And you're like, literally not thought about it. And now I've got to think of a million different things. And that feels like it's adding to my mental load, and it feels stressful. So that's another kind of take on it that would, I don't know, it would feel very helpful to just have that conversation with them. Wouldn't it? Yeah.
And I think with things like that, I don't know what you do, but I've kind of just got an app on my phone where I keep notes and stuff. And if I ever think of anything, I think, oh, that would be quite a good gift for someone, I just write it down on there, so that when Christmas does come around, I've normally got like a list of random ideas to come back to.
So I don't do that.
To start thinking from scratch.
Great idea. I don't do that currently. I generally just like wait until a birthday's coming up, and then I'm like, right, make your list, or but there's so many things I see throughout the year that I should make a note of. So that's I'm gonna steal that tip from you. Can you give me an example of what works in real life?
Yeah, definitely. So actually the examples of what do best in terms of our Instagram content, and it was our daughter's 5th birthday party a couple of weeks ago, and I shared a post about it, and it's literally gone bonkers. We've had like 6,000 people follow us off the back of it.
Wow.
Because people just want to see, like, they agree with the principle of all of this no crap party stuff, but they want to see how to actually do it and what that looks like in real life. So what we did for her 5th party was, on the invite, I said, no gifts, bring a wrapped up pre-loved toy for a toy swap, nothing worth more than £5. And then, so what we had it at home. We're lucky we've got some space to do that. So that was good. But we had it at home. It was a morning party, so it was 9:30 to 11:30, because I didn't want to take up everyone's whole days. And also, I know our daughter gets a bit kind of anxious waiting for stuff, so it's like, get it out of the way.
Yeah.
So yeah, people arrived. We let them run riot for a bit. We had a little disco in the living room with bubbles. And we made medals out of leftover chocolate coins from Christmas, just on a bit of string, for the winners of like musical statues and the most enthusiastic dancer and that kind of thing.
Oh, cute.
And then we just had like a really simple kind of brunch style party. So, I really wanted to avoid food waste. Obviously, this is about, the campaign's about gifting and party bags, but there's all sorts of other waste that can happen at parties, and food and packaging is one of them. So we did chocolate croissants, bagels, and some fruit. And there was literally nothing left because there was a few bits of croissant left and a few bits of bagels, and the adults just hoovered it up afterwards. So,
Yeah.
so that was really good. And we used our party kit. So I rent out a reusable party kit, which is basically plates and cups and bunting and stuff. So all looked really nice and fun. And then after the food, we did the toy swap. So basically, when everyone arrived, they just put their gift into a big cardboard box. And we had got a few extra things from the charity shop, just in case anyone had forgotten, or in case somebody opened it and was like, I hate Barbies, or,
Yeah.
I've already got this puzzle or whatever.
Yeah.
And then our daughter got to pick first, and she'd actually already seen what she wanted, something that I got from the charity shop. So she was like, Mum.
Oh.
So she picked first, and then everyone else just took turns, and they unwrapped it, and there was lots of excitement seeing what each other had. And then our daughter just got a couple of extra things that were left at the end. So she kind of had a few extra. She ended up with 3 presents from the party rather than 12 from everyone that had come. And she honestly just did not mention the fact that people hadn't bought her an individual gift. And what I thought was really interesting was that the thing that she loved the most was going through the cards that all of her friends had made her, and specifically like the homemade ones, super cute. So we did that, and then we went outside and we did a treasure hunt around the garden, which was so easy. I just wrote some little clues on a bit of paper. They followed it around the garden, and in the shed was a basket with some Smarties in.
Nice.
And that was it. And that was so they had their little secondhand present that they took home, and then they had their tube of Smarties. And it was so easy. And it didn't cost us very much at all. It didn't cost anyone else anything. So it was a win.
Brilliant. That's a really good example of how you can just think a little bit differently and make it sort of outside of the box, but not too stressful to arrange. And especially like at that age of kids love a little bit of a reveal. So like I love the treasure hunt idea because they love just being able to find things, and all of that sounds so good.
Do you know what was genius about the treasure hunt? We were really lucky the weather was good because it's obviously a winter birthday, but like I was like, we'll get them out of the house at the end. All the coats and hats and gloves will be on, and shoes. They'll be out of the house and they won't come back in again.
Bugger off.
Yeah, literally. I was like, we'll get them out. They had a slice of cake outside, so we didn't end up with crumbs all over the garden. At the end of the treasure hunt, everyone had a bit of cake, and then we're like, okay, bye. And there was because we've had it before when, some children don't like to leave, do they?
Yes.
And they're like hiding under the bed, and I'm like, I literally need you to go now.
Yeah.
Like, I've got a younger child I need to put to bed.
Yeah.
It's really, the party's over, guys.
Great idea. Really No, it can be really hard. Yeah, certain kids can struggle with the transition of leaving, and others they just don't want to leave, do they? I always have that issue with play dates and things. So I love that idea.
And some parents don't get the memo either. So
yeah, that's true. You're like, yes, fucking off now. So hard.
Okay, must be getting on.
Oh no, that's
funny. Actually, was our daughter just went inside by herself. She was like, I'm done now. See you later.
That's what my boys would be like. They'd be like, a social battery has now expired. I'm ready to go to bed. But oh, cute. Oh, that's great. That's really helpful. Thank you for that example, because I think it is quite tricky to sort of, just think of new ideas, because I think we all have these ways of doing things, and everyone's doing things in a similar way. But actually, if you start with your kids at a young age doing it differently, so your daughter is now going to know that it's actually normal for them to get their kind of version of a party bag, and that's not abnormal. So each year that will be the norm for her. So
and also when she started primary school, this is her first year at school, I said to her, all parties are different. Some parties have party bags, some there'll be loads of presents, some they'll do this, some they'll do that, and that's what's really great, because they're all different. So it's always a surprise as to what's going to happen. And that's not probably a conversation many parents have with their kids, but I think it's one that we should be having, because then we're just priming them not to be disappointed and to go in with an open mind and not expect anything. And really, that's how we should go through life, isn't it? You can't be all entitled, thinking that you're going to get something.
Yeah. Just letting them know that actually, don't expect that you're going to be given a party bag at the end of this party. We've yet to go to a party where they haven't been given one, but it's good to just prime them so that they know that actually sometimes it doesn't always happen. So many things that I've learned from this conversation, but also that I really want to share with the world. So I can't wait for this one to go out, because it'll be really great to share it, get more people to hopefully sign the pact, but also for me personally, in a selfish way, because I've got my kids' party coming up, I want to be able to like find the confidence to say what I want to say when it comes to gifting. And
just send this episode to everyone who's invited.
Yeah,
parents.
I've been
just listen to this before my child's party.
Funnily enough, I set up a WhatsApp group literally like 2 days ago, and I think I probably will just say, look, yeah, I've just recorded this, because I think everyone's going to find value in it. So, and they can give you a follow as well, because you've got so many helpful things on your Instagram, like tips and advice and knowledge that you're sharing. So, on that note, what is your Instagram handle and your website?
So Instagram is no.crap.parties, and the website is nocrapparties.org. And if you look at the resource, so first of all, sign the pact, sign the Kids Party Pact. It's on the website. And second of all, if you head to the resources on the website, you'll see like various things, like the link to the invite templates, the wording for gift guidance, ideas for party bags, how to talk to grandparents. All of that stuff is on the resources section on the website.
Excellent. Oh, that's good to know. And what have you got coming up? I have got a final question that I'm going to ask you in a moment, but you mentioned your book. Tell us a little bit more about your book and what that's about, because that's coming up this year, isn't it?
Yeah, so I've written it and I'm just about to start finding illustrators. So I don't want to give too much away, but it's a children's picture book. It's for kids between sort of like 2 and 6-ish year olds. And it's all about kind of more conscious gifting, really. It's set at Santa's workshop. But it's not necessarily a Christmas book. The aim is that it could be something that could be read all year round. But yeah, it's about a little elf who discovers a problem and decides that she's going to encourage everyone else at Santa's workshop to think a bit differently about the gifts.
Oh, beautiful. What a great idea. Yeah.
I'm very excited about it. And I think I'm going to be self-publishing. If there's any publishers listening who would like to publish it, let me know. But I've not had much luck with that so far. So I'm going to just do it myself.
Good for you. I've met a few people that have self-published and they've done well out of it, but it is hard work. But also, I have faith in you, and it sounds like a really, really good idea for a children's book as well. So, if there are any publishers listening, do get in touch. I'm very excited for you. Very final question that I always ask: what would you say to first-time pregnant you to support her?
Okay, so we've sort of covered one of the things that I thought of, which was just preempt the avalanche of new baby gifts that you're going to get. So I did this with my second child, because I felt so overwhelmed by the amount of gifts we got given, that a lot of which weren't really necessary or particularly useful. With the first one, second time round, I said, we have everything we need. If you do want to give us a new baby welcome, can you donate to this charity instead? It was like maternity kits for war zones. Very depressing. But I was like, we literally don't need anything. These people really do. So a lot of people did that. So that was really good. And then the other thing I would say is just to, just be kind to yourself and ask for help, and just focus on doing things that fill up your cup rather than other people's, because having a new baby is a lot in every way. And it is really, really tiring and emotionally mental. So just do things that do fill up your cup and give yourself a bit of a break on the things that don't matter, like how tidy your house is.
Oh my goodness, yes. Great advice for any first-time pregnant woman, I think. Yeah, it's having a tidy house is definitely something that we've is a lie that's been sold. It's definitely not something we should care about. But again, it comes down to our conditioning, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've just this is our spare bed behind us, and there's a load of crap underneath that duvet. I just put the duvet on top of it for this podcast in case anyone could see.
I literally can't tell that there's any, because it's a bit blurred as well.
Yeah, it's blurred.
It's very neat and tidy. Yeah. Oh no, that's wonderful. Really lovely answer there. I love that. And thank you so much for sharing everything about No Crap Parties, because it is something that obviously personally I'm very interested in, but I feel like more people would, I think, love to learn about, especially the listeners that tune into this podcast. And if you're interested in, conscious living and the planet and modelling good behaviours to your children when it comes to this kind of stuff, then go and check out Charlotte's page on Instagram and her website and all of her resources. And thank you so much for joining me. I really loved this chat.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Laura. It's been really great.
Take care. Thank you, Charlotte.
Thank you.